At the break of dawn on June 21, 2025, the peaceful neighborhood of Mount Vernon, New York, was disrupted by the arrival of an unmarked FBI convoy. No sirens pierced the quiet, no flashing lights disturbed the stillness. Only a profound silence accompanied the agents as they approached the residence. Once owned by Janice Combs, the biological mother of renowned hip-hop artist Sean Diddy Combs. Equipped with an emergency search warrant, they needed no invitation to enter. Their mission was guided by precise intelligence pinpointing a hidden space beneath the house. The team moved with calculated precision, deploying advanced tools such as 3D cameras and ground-penetrating radar. After more than an hour of meticulous effort, the dusty wooden floorboards were carefully lifted, exposing a damp, concealed hollow underneath. A foul odor permeated the air, compelling the agents to wear protective masks. A forensics unit was called in immediately, and what they uncovered left the team in stunned disbelief. 4 bodies, tightly encased in plastic sheeting, partially decomposed and stacked atop one another in a cramped space between concrete and cold earth. An internal source confirmed that one of the victims appeared to be a minor, raising immediate alarms about the gravity of the crimes involved. When the first photograph leaked online, grainy yet disturbingly clear enough to reveal what America was unprepared to confront, a single question echoed across forums and social media platforms. Could this be the ultimate secret Diddy had buried beneath his own mother's home? This raid transcended a routine legal operation. It marked the inception of an investigation poised to send shockwaves through the entertainment industry. The discovery of a suitcase concealed with surgical precision hinted at a deliberate attempt to hide evidence, while the presence of multiple corpses suggested a pattern far exceeding a singular incident. As daylight emerged, the FBI's New York headquarters hummed with urgency. An emergency meeting was convened, attended by representatives from the Department of Justice, the Federal Financial Crimes Task Force, and criminal profiling experts. Initial images from the scene revealed the bodies arranged in an orderly, almost ceremonial manner, unlike the chaotic disposal typical of impulsive acts. This deliberate placement fueled speculation of a broader, more sinister network at play. The agents worked diligently, documenting every detail, aware that each piece of evidence could unravel a decade-long enigma. The public's response was swift and divided. Within hours, hashtags like #DiddyBasement and #TruthRevealed trended on X, with users dissecting old footage of Diddy where he once alluded to sacrifices no one dares to mention. A former contractor who renovated the property in 2015 disclosed that the basement had been fortified with soundproofing materials and a steel-reinforced door, a detail that sparked suspicion. It wasn't just a storage space, he told investigators. It felt like they were constructing something to conceal secrets. This testimony, paired with the forensic findings, indicated the basement might have served not only as a hiding place, but also as a central hub for illicit activities. As the morning unfolded, media outlets rushed to report the emerging story. However, major networks like CNN, NBC, and CBS began curtailing live updates, resorting instead to pre-recorded segments. This abrupt change deepened public suspicion, with many accusing the media of yielding to external pressures. A human rights activist posted on X, "This is a cover-up in plain sight. #DiddyExposed demands answers." The raid, initially targeting financial irregularities, had evolved into a chilling exploration of crimes buried beneath the Combs family legacy, laying the groundwork for an investigation that would challenge the boundaries of justice and accountability. As investigators delved deeper into the concealed space, they encountered a scene orchestrated with chilling precision. The bodies were not haphazardly buried. They were positioned with an eerie orderliness, suggesting adherence to a specific ritual or protocol. Adjacent to the plastic-wrapped remains, agents discovered a small metal box etched with peculiar symbols resembling markings previously documented in the activities of clandestine groups. A ritual crime specialist from the FBI's Quantico headquarters, after an initial assessment, posited that this finding could serve as a critical clue pointing to an organized criminal network extending far beyond the actions of an individual like Diddy. Among the recovered evidence, a partially charred leather journal emerged, its pages filled with fragmented notes and sketches of symmetrical circular designs echoing symbols often associated with underground cults. A forensic analyst revealed that preliminary DNA traces on the bodies matched records of missing persons linked to events hosted by Diddy. One potential victim was identified as Mia R., a young dancer who vanished in 2015 following her attendance at a private gathering at Diddy's Hamptons retreat. The alignment of these details with the journal's cryptic contents intensified speculation about a coordinated operation. The discovery rapidly spread across social media with hashtags like #DiddyBasement and #TruthUncovered gaining momentum. Users revisited archival footage of Diddy, particularly a statement where he hinted at sacrifices no one dares to speak of, subjecting it to intense scrutiny. A former construction worker who assisted in the 2016 renovation of the property provided further insight, noting that the basement had been upgraded with advanced soundproofing and a reinforced steel door. It was more than a storage area, he confided to investigators. It seemed designed to muffle sounds and hide activities. This revelation, coupled with the forensic evidence, suggested the basement may have functioned as a central node in a broader illicit enterprise. As the investigation progressed, a team of archaeologists and forensic experts was enlisted to excavate the site further. They uncovered additional artifacts, including a rusted chain and fragments of clothing, which were sent for laboratory analysis. One item, a decayed fabric patch, bore a logo resembling that of a defunct talent agency once associated with Diddy's network. This finding prompted a renewed examination of cold cases, with authorities suspecting a pattern of disappearances tied to his events. The meticulous nature of the burial site, complete with reinforced concrete, indicated significant planning, reinforcing the hypothesis of a systematic criminal endeavor. Public reaction intensified as news outlets struggled to keep pace with the unfolding drama. Independent journalists on X accused mainstream media of selective reporting, pointing to the sudden scarcity of live coverage as evidence of external influence. A civil rights advocate commented, "The silence from major networks speaks volumes. #DiddyExposed is a call for transparency." Meanwhile, the FBI established a dedicated task force to analyze the symbols and journal collaborating, with international experts to decode their potential significance. The basement, once a mundane part of a family home, had transformed into a grim testament to secrets long buried, setting the stage for a deeper probe into Diddy's empire. As public scrutiny mounted, a former housekeeper employed by Janice Combs from 2016 to 2019 came forward with a troubling account. The woman, now under legal representation, described frequent late-night visits by unidentified individuals carrying large, unlabeled crates and electronic equipment. "They instructed me not to ask questions," she recounted, her voice trembling. "Once I noticed bloodstains on the stairs leading to the basement, but when I mentioned it, I was told to mind my own business." If corroborated, her testimony could reshape the narrative surrounding Janice's alleged ignorance of the activities beneath her home. The media's response grew increasingly cautious, with major networks such as NBC, CBS, and MSNBC scaling back live broadcasts in favor of pre-approved segments. This shift fueled widespread speculation online where users accused the press of succumbing to pressure from powerful entities. A prominent human rights activist posted on X, "The pattern is clear. Elite circles are pulling strings to suppress the truth. Hashtag Diddy exposed demands accountability." The abrupt change in coverage only deepened the public's distrust, amplifying calls for an unfiltered investigation into the Combs family's affairs. Simultaneously, the FBI expanded its inquiry following a revelation from a former assistant of Diddy who worked with him between 2013 and 2017. The individual disclosed the presence of a hidden surveillance system within the basement connected to a secure server accessible only to those with specialized access cards. "I heard cries emanating from below on several occasions," he admitted during an interview with investigators. "When I inquired, they dismissed it as audio from a recording studio." This statement, if verified, could establish the basement as a site of confinement rather than mere storage, pointing to premeditated criminal acts. Further complicating the case, a retired neighbor of the Combs family contacted authorities claiming to have observed unusual activity over the years. "There were nights when vans arrived without lights and people moved quickly in and out," the neighbor stated. "I thought it was odd, but I never imagined it could be this." This anecdotal evidence, while requiring substantiation, added to the growing body of witness accounts suggesting a long-concealed operation. The FBI began cross-referencing these reports with property records, uncovering that the basement's structural modifications coincided with several unexplained disappearances reported in the region. Social media platforms erupted with debate as users dissected every available piece of information. Old photographs of Diddy at various events were analyzed for clues, with some alleging the presence of influential figures in the background. A viral thread on X speculated, "How many knew and stayed silent? Hashtag Diddy basement is just the tip of the iceberg." This digital outcry pressured law enforcement to accelerate their efforts, while independent investigators launched parallel probes to uncover additional witnesses. The housekeeper's revelation in particular shifted focus toward Janice Combs, transforming her from a peripheral figure into a potential key witness. The investigation took an unexpected turn when a local historian identified the symbols found in the basement as resembling those used by a defunct secret society active in the early 2000s. Though the connection remained tentative, it prompted the FBI to consult with cultural anthropologists who suggested the symbols might indicate a ritualistic motive behind the burials. This hypothesis gained traction as forensic teams discovered traces of incense and wax near the site, hinting at ceremonial practices. The combination of witness testimonies and emerging evidence painted a picture of a sophisticated network shielded by silence and influence, now on the brink of exposure. As the afternoon of June 26, 2025 progressed, currently 02:42 p.m. +07, the case dominated headlines and online discussions. The housekeeper's courage in speaking out marked a pivotal moment, breaking the wall of secrecy that had protected the Combs legacy. Yet with each new disclosure, more questions arose. How deep did this network extend? Who else might be implicated? The answers, it seemed, lay buried not only in the concrete, but in the shadows of power that had long obscured the truth. As the investigation transcended national borders, the FBI uncovered a web of international financial transactions linked to Diddy. A confidential report revealed that over 15 million USD had been funneled through encrypted accounts in Switzerland and Dubai, tied to an entertainment company based in the Bahamas. This entity, known for hosting exclusive events, required attendees to sign stringent non-disclosure agreements, raising suspicions of illicit activities. The discovery prompted a joint operation with Interpol to trace the money trail, marking a significant escalation in the probe. A former pilot employed by Diddy provided a startling revelation detailing numerous flights to a private island not listed on any official maps. The trips often occurred at odd hours, outside regular flight schedules, he explained to investigators. I saw large crates being loaded, but I was never allowed to ask what was inside. Satellite imagery later confirmed the existence of unusual structures on the island, including a concealed area covered with tarpaulin, fueling speculation about a hidden facility. The pilot's account suggested this location served as a discreet hub for Diddy's most secretive gatherings. Parallel to these findings, a global charity organization previously partnered with Diddy came under scrutiny for suspected money laundering. Substantial donations from fundraising galas were redirected to offshore accounts with portions allegedly used to hire tech experts for erasing digital footprints. A former employee of the charity disclosed, "We were told the funds supported youth programs, but I never saw any projects materialize." This admission pointed to a potential scheme where charitable fronts masked criminal enterprises, a tactic increasingly associated with Diddy's network. The financial investigation revealed a complex system of shell companies and proxies. One such entity, registered in the Cayman Islands, had received regular payments from Diddy's production firm, with funds later dispersed to obscure recipients in Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe. A forensic accountant noted, the transactions were layered to obscure their origin, a classic sign of organized crime. This led authorities to subpoena bank records from multiple jurisdictions, uncovering a pattern of cash withdrawals at untraceable ATMs, hinting at a global operation. Social media buzzed with theories as users connected the dots between Diddy's international ventures and the basement findings. A leaked email from a Bahamian official obtained by an independent journalist mentioned special arrangements for high-profile guests, further stoking public outrage. The hashtag #DiddyDarkWeb trended, with commentators alleging the island served as a staging ground for trafficking or extortion. While unverified, these claims pressured law enforcement to expedite their overseas inquiries. The FBI's collaboration with foreign agencies yielded additional leads. A customs officer in the Dominican Republic reported intercepting a shipment linked to Diddy's company containing encrypted hard drives and luxury goods in 2018. Though the case was dropped due to lack of evidence at the time, the officer now believed it was part of a larger cover-up. "We were told to let it go," he admitted anonymously. This revelation prompted a renewed effort to analyze seized materials, with early results indicating the presence of surveillance footage. As of 03:15 p.m. +07 on June 26, 2025, the investigation scope continued to widen. A team of cyber specialists was deployed to decrypt the hard drives, while satellite data was re-examined for signs of activity on the island. The charity's board faced mounting pressure to release financial records, with donors threatening legal action. This multinational dimension transformed the case from a domestic scandal into a global confrontation with a shadowy network, its tendrils reaching into the highest echelons of power and privilege. The public's demand for transparency grew louder, with protests forming outside FBI headquarters in New York. Signs reading, "End the Silence" and "Expose Diddy's Empire" reflected a collective resolve to dismantle the alleged syndicate. Yet each new piece of evidence posed a challenge. How far did this network extend? And who else might be complicit? The answers, buried in offshore accounts and remote islands, promised to reshape the narrative of Diddy's legacy, exposing a system built on secrecy and exploitation. Part 5. The Silence is Broken. 600 words. As public pressure intensified, a former dancer who had worked with Diddy stepped forward with a harrowing testimony. The young woman, now under protective custody, recounted being detained for 2 days following a 2014 event in Manhattan. They forced me to sign a non-disclosure agreement, warning that my family would suffer if I refused, she shared tearfully with investigators. Her account, supported by a copy of the unsigned contract, provided a critical lead, prompting the FBI to cross-reference it with other witness statements. The digital sphere erupted with support as the hashtag Diddy downfall surged to the top of trending topics on X. Human rights advocates seized the moment, calling for an independent commission to oversee the investigation. A recent poll conducted by the Justice Watch Foundation revealed that 70% of Americans favored the public disclosure of all individuals associated with Diddy, regardless of their status. "We no longer trust the innocence of celebrities under such allegations," one respondent wrote online, echoing a widespread sentiment of disillusionment. Adding to the momentum, a former security guard who had worked for Diddy contacted the FBI, offering a detailed list of attendees from private events held between 2010 and 2015. "I recognize many of the names, and they're terrified of this coming to light," he cautioned during a secure interview. The list, now under forensic analysis, included several prominent figures from the entertainment and business sectors, potentially implicating a broader circle of complicity. Independent journalists played a pivotal role uncovering additional evidence through crowdsourced efforts. A video clip uploaded anonymously to a whistleblower platform depicted a late-night delivery to the Mount Vernon property with individuals unloading heavy, unmarked boxes. The footage, time-stamped 2016, aligned with the dancer's timeline, strengthening the case for a coordinated operation. "This isn't just Diddy's secret, it's a system," an activist posted on X, galvanizing further public action. By 04:30 p.m. plus 07 on June 26, 2025, the case had sparked nationwide demonstrations with crowds gathering outside courthouses and media offices. Chants of justice for the vanished reverberated, driven by families of missing persons who believed their loved ones were among the victims. A mother of a missing teen from 2017 addressed the crowd. "We've waited years for answers, now we demand them." Her plea underscored the human toll of the alleged crimes, pushing authorities to expedite DNA testing on the recovered remains. The FBI responded by expanding its witness protection program, offering immunity to those willing to testify against higher-ranking figures. A legal aid previously employed by Diddy's team came forward admitting to shredding documents that might have linked the star to offshore accounts. "I was paid to look the other way," he confessed, providing a partial list of destroyed files. This admission opened a new avenue for investigators who began reconstructing the shredded records using advanced imaging technology. Public outrage continued to mount, with celebrities once associated with Diddy facing intense scrutiny. Social media campaigns targeted their silence, with users posting archival photos and demanding explanations. A coalition of activists launched a website, Voices Unheard, to document survivor stories and encourage further disclosures. The breaking of this silence marked a turning point, shifting the narrative from individual guilt to a systemic failure where power and influence had long shielded the truth. As the day progressed, the collective resolve to unearth the full extent of the network grew stronger. The dancer's courage, the guard's list, and the public's unwavering demand for justice converged to challenge the impunity that had protected Diddy's empire. The question remained, would this outcry sustain the momentum needed to dismantle the shadows, or would it fade into another forgotten cause? As the investigation gained momentum, the FBI and Department of Justice, in collaboration with Interpol, intensified their efforts to dismantle the sprawling network tied to Diddy. Additional properties linked to the Combs family, including a luxurious estate in Los Angeles and a villa in Miami, were subjected to thorough searches. Early reports indicated the discovery of encrypted devices and financial records, further implicating a sophisticated operation. A DOJ spokesperson declared at a press conference on June 26, 2025 at 05:00 p.m. plus 07. This is a fully funded criminal enterprise shielded by wealth, influence, and calculated silence. Diddy, currently detained at a federal holding facility, reportedly began cooperating with authorities, though his legal team contested the validity of the evidence. The focus shifted beyond his personal culpability to the architects of the system that enabled his actions. Seized documents revealed a network of legal firms and PR agencies that had orchestrated damage control, while former law enforcement officers were identified as having received payments to overlook irregularities. This systemic corruption underscored the depth of the cover-up. Public reaction reached a crescendo as associates of Diddy distanced themselves, with several high-profile individuals terminating professional ties. The hashtag Diddy fallout dominated X, with users sharing evidence of past connections now under scrutiny. A leaked audio recording, purportedly from a 2019 meeting, captured a voice resembling Diddy's discussing cleaning up loose ends, adding fuel to the prosecution's case. Forensic analysis was underway to authenticate the recording. By 06:00 p.m. plus 07 on June 26, 2025, the narrative had shifted from a single scandal to the collapse of an empire built on exploitation. The basement in Mount Vernon, once a symbol of family legacy, now stood as a grim monument to the victims' suffering. Families of the missing gathered outside the FBI office, holding vigils to honor those unearthed. Their resolve strengthened by the promise of justice. The investigation's next phase would target the international financiers and enablers, with authorities vowing to leave no stone unturned. Whether this marked the end of impunity for the elite or merely a temporary reckoning remained uncertain. Yet, as the sun set on this turbulent day, one truth emerged. The secrets buried beneath had ignited a fire that could no longer be extinguished.